Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for clicking on this video. So in this one, I wanted to talk to you guys about my first time purchase experience for picking up an Omega Speedmaster. And the Speedy I ended up getting happened to be this guy on the wrist. This is the recently discontinued Hesalite version of the Moonwatch Professional series. The one with their iconic manual wind caliber 1861. Now I thought this video might be timely because I'm sure there are other watch enthusiasts out there who struggle with just trying to find out which Omega Speedmaster model best suits them. And even for me, for a long time, I thought buying a Speedmaster was a bit unapproachable because of the litany of different models and different iterations that are out there, including Speedmasters that have automatic movements like the Racing or the Reduce series. Now thankfully, because of the active watch community on YouTube, I did found some pretty good resources out there. Another Canadian, Oleg, from the channel 24 Hours at a Time, recently put out a video indicating why he thought that this particular model of the Omega Speedmaster Professional, the Moonwatch, was one of the best value Swiss luxury watches on the market right now. And I was also fortunate enough to have one of my close friends, Sanjay, from the Engineer Wannabe channel in Toronto, help me out by going to his authorized dealer and trying out not only this iteration of the Omega Speedmaster Professional, but also the newly released model this year with their iconic 3861 caliber, which is a METIS certified coaxial version of the chronograph movement that fits inside the Moonwatch. So why did I end up going with this watch over, say, some of the other models? For me, when picking such an iconic design, I do think tracing back to some of the early heritage to this watch is important. So unlike the new 3861 coaxial caliber, the 1861 is kind of a direct descendant of the original chronograph movements actually went into space and was approved by NASA. So needless to say, it is a tried and true tested movement. The 1861 has been produced since about 1996 to about this day. So it's definitely not a slouch. It doesn't have some of the updates in tech and refinement. But for me, for a chronograph movement, it's totally acceptable. Another consideration for me, actually checking out this watch inside an authorized dealer, was pricing and warranty. So some authorized dealers still have this guy in stock, although it is discontinued and probably won't be in stock for long. But this watch trends around 65 to 6,700 Canadian dollars. And if you factor the delta between this watch and the new version of the Moonwatch Professional that cost around $8,500, there's about a $2,000 price difference to get that upgraded movement and some other minor refinements like a more tapered bracelet and some changes to the case shape. Now in regard to the overall case shape and bracelet, I do actually prefer this iteration of the Moonwatch over the newly refined one because I find that the bracelet tapers too dramatically, especially at the clasp for the new Moonwatch of the 1861 caliber. And they did try and slim out the case a little bit, but I found that there were some sharp hot spots on the case for the new Moonwatch relative to this more classic and conservative design. Now, I actually did have a stigma about the bracelets on a lot of Omegas because in the past I've owned a lot of Omega watches from the Seamaster series, such as the Seamaster Professional and Aquaterra, and both those bracelets didn't do a lot for me. I thought they were too chunky and the clasp too thick. But surprisingly for the Moonwatch here, I do like that the links are a little bit more rounded out. The clasp is actually the perfect size in my opinion. And even though the end links do stick out a little bit past the case, if you have my wrist size, which is about 7.5 inches, I just think that it wears a lot more comfortably. And the proportions of the bracelet and clasp balance out the head of the watch quite well relative to the newer models that are out there. Another thing I think a lot of people don't talk about is the full kit that comes with the Moonwatch Professional series. So with the current version I have, you get this huge big box, you get like a suitcase and a lot of nice pamphlets and a loop, as well as some additional straps. Whereas with the new 1861 caliber movement watch, I don't think you're getting all of the additional packaging that you would normally get. And this is very collectible. The NATO strap that the astronauts used and like the loop and stuff can actually sell for hundreds of dollars as a complete kit of just the packaging. And let's not forget, if you purchase from an authorized dealer, you still get the Omega 5-year warranty. So even though I do think that this is a rock solid movement and the watch itself has literally stood the test of time, if you do have any issues with this watch, you can definitely get it serviced down the line through an authorized dealer. Or to take it one step further, if you know a good watchmaker, any reputable watchmaker can easily service the 1861, and I don't think they can do the same with the new coaxial chronograph caliber that Omega released. Now, some other considerations when picking up the Hesalite version of this watch. I do think that the clarity of the Hesalite crystal is a little bit better than the previous generation, which had a sapphire sandwich and kind of a milky ring around the outside. And additionally, it does trace back to the heritage, right? I mean, the Hesalite crystal was what was approved by NASA because it won't shatter based on high impacts. And if you do get any minor scratches, I think you can buff it out quite well. And overall, I just love the symmetrical and classic design of the Moonwatch. You know, you don't have a date anywhere. You got those 3 perfectly laid out subdials. And the contrast and legibility on this watch is quite high, having a matte black dial and then sharp contrast white printing and a white handset. It's actually more of an understated and tool type watch, and those are the watches that I personally gravitate towards when I consider an everyday timepiece. So overall, guys, when you factor in the heritage of this particular Moonwatch, the reliability, the pricing, and the materials you get with the complete kit, I do think that if you're only going to want to own one Speedmaster, this one might be the one to get, especially since it has been discontinued. It's still kind of available now, but there is speculation that the price might creep up. But guys, that's really all I wanted to say in this video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description below. I'd love to know what your favorite Omega Speedmaster is. And hey, if you like this content, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It helps out a ton. I hope you guys can stay safe during this time, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video.